I've done a push-up in like 20 years. Hang on a second.
Man.
Let's go to Craig. Craig Liddell hanging out, waiting for next year. Oh, that's Kenny Rhoda. Stand by,
What's up, Kenny?
At least you have clothes on. That's good. All right, let's go to Craig Liddell. Hey, Craig.
Good morning, guys.
You got a different setting back
How
there.
are you? Did you change the camera or are you in a different room?
I turned it around because I had a lovely podcast with comedians Chad Zumach and Chris Clem.
Oh, and that was when? Today or that was last week? Or
It was last week, and I just haven't switched my setup back.
Gotcha. You need to put, like, waiting for next year. You need a sign back there so we can get a little run and do some advertising. Do I have to do marketing for you now?
Somebody has to.
All right, let's talk about the Browns game from yesterday. Just your thoughts, and is there anything positive named Johnny Manziel that came out of that game?
I don't know. I mean, I guess he played better, and I think he played okay. I'm still not buying into the whole Johnny Manziel thing. I think that what the Steelers did yesterday was they said, hey, you can make any reception you want as long as it's in front of our defense and we're going to smash somebody. And they did that consistently over the course of a game, and the Browns only scored 9 points. So I think I'm not really sure that that Johnny Manziel showed us all that we need to see to bet on him from now until into the future. I think it's kind of fool's gold what the Steelers did. It's kind of evil genius if you think the Steelers did it on purpose.
Yeah. Craig, you do realize that the conversation, though, this week is going to be about Johnny Manziel, and I think we found our quarterback. I know that conversation's coming.
I don't care about that. You know, he had, 15 completions in the game he won? So I'd rather him have 15 completions and win the game. I mean, Pittsburgh, for Antonio Brown.
Yeah, but you know, as a guy that plays defense, fans are going to look at this game and say, oh, could we have one more pass interference call? The defense sucked yesterday. They sucked. And so people are going to look at this and go, Johnny Manziel proved to us that he can learn, he can play better, he can stay in the pocket. People aren't going to worry about it. Everyone wants to talk about the quarterback 24/7. I understand what you're saying.
Is Palomalu playing for Pittsburgh now?
Does it matter?
In that secondary?
No.
No, okay. So who's in that secondary that we know besides Gay? That's the only guy that you can really name and say who's a starter for Pittsburgh.
It doesn't matter. Fans aren't looking at the names on the other side.
The fans
they
gotta
saw
understand.
Johnny Manziel yesterday that they think played better than they have before, and they want to see what he can do for the rest of the season.
Okay.
And Johnny, I'll tell you this. I think the Browns fans, and I kind of have that same feeling too, that when Johnny's on the field, even if he fumbles, even if he almost throws an interception on his first pass, I think Browns fans feel like Johnny can make something happen on every play.
Okay.
You buying or selling?
I'm selling.
You're selling. Craig, buying or selling?
Buying.
Yeah, I'm not buying yet, but I do think that it's quite obvious that there's no reason to play Josh McCown the rest of the season. I'm also not buying a 36-year-old. So you might as well play Johnny Manziel, but color me skeptical. I'm still very skeptical that Johnny Manziel is going to do it. More importantly, did somebody not tell the Browns defensive backs just to keep everything in front of them? How do they let 90 passes go over the top of them?
It's called going to sleep, not being. Mike Pettin was the whole week. The guys use their hands well. They do this. They do that. I couldn't tell. Antonio Brown ran a slant play, and took it to the house, and then did a somersault front flip. How embarrassing, man! You supposed to smack the dog shit out of somebody when they do that. But you know, with the Cleveland Browns, I mean, instead of that white stripe, it's a yellow stripe going on their back. I'm sorry. Look at that, man. This kid can't even run. If that was Mingo, he'd have caught him.
Let's talk about Johnson Batamosi for a second.
Go ahead.
I like Johnson Batamosi. I think he's a really great guy, a good teammate, very valuable special teamer. But all the arguments that we have about Johnny Manziel and how he needs to play, those are the same ones for Justin Gilbert. Justin Gilbert has struggled, and he's maybe not earned his spot, but the dude is 6 feet tall and ran a 4.3 something 40. Johnson Batamosi never did that.
He would have caught Antonio Brown.
Wait, let's go into this a little bit deeper. How is your top overall pick from 2 years ago a healthy scratch in yesterday's game? How is he a healthy scratch? Explain. Craig, answer, because you have nothing.
Yeah,
I got nothing either. Craig, you got an answer?
No, it's absolutely embarrassing, and it shows that maybe Pettin's culture of accountability has maybe gone too far, where he's on some kind of a power trip. But there's no way that team can look at the healthy roster, the active roster, and watch guys just kind of physically be overmatched, and think that a guy like Dwayne Bowe or Justin Gilbert, somebody with more of a pedigree, can't help them.
Well,
And so I wonder
answer this.
who Mike Pettine's really sending a message to and what message he's sending at this point.
Well, I think in practice, it starts in practice. Justin Gilbert probably looks horrible in practice, and those other guys look like All-Americans or All-Pros or whatever you want to call it. So when they get out there, you're All-Pro against our receivers who are really not that good, and then you get to a game and you think you can put your hand on some other receivers that are All-Pro receivers for real, and you can't do it. But the one thing I know, I mean, if Justin Gilbert, his technique is not the best, but he's fast. You can use some speed sometimes.
I don't know. He could be the fastest guy in the world getting water from the locker room, bringing it back to the bench. If he's not active, you can't do anything with that speed.
Man, you're absolutely correct. I mean, my thing is, if he's an 8th overall pick, you got to play him. I don't care if you don't like him.
Gotcha.
I mean, you just got to play him. You're going to figure out if that guy can play or not.
Can we finally say that our offensive line is not good? I mean, how many weeks is it going to take for
6.
that offensive line
How
play
many
for us
sacks
to
did
say
they
our
get?
offensive
6 sacks
line
yesterday.
is not good? I mean,
No James Harrison, right?
Well, yes.
Shazier just ran over my man Duke Johnson.
Right.
Like Duke.
Is
he
that an
supposed to take his
offensive
kneecap.
line problem, though, or is that a welcome to the NFL for Duke Johnson?
I've got a question
The
for
line
Pierre
should
about
block,
this.
too.
All right, go, Craig, go ahead.
Hey, Pierre, I've always heard in the NBA that rebounding is about, desire and not so much about talent. Running the ball well is about talent, but the lack of running that the Browns are showing, is that just a lack of heart, lack of desire to run the ball? Because they should be able to get, even a bad rushing team should be able to average 2.5 yards per carry, I would think.
You absolutely correct. I mean, it's the will and the want to do it. When you get that ball in your hand, you got to want to get 3 to 4 yards. I looked at the kid from Indiana, and he came from UAB, transferred. Mm-hmm. If the Browns don't select that kid, they some fools. I'm serious. He got heart. Or Ezekiel. I want, or Big Henry from Alabama. We need a back that's going to run downhill.
Yeah, but are you going to draft a running back in the first round?
And you might as well. You done drafted everything else in the first round that screwed up.
I still want to defend, just real quick, Craig, because I know we're not going to do a show next week, and I'm backed up here for a second. But I'm just curious, what do you think they should do with the front office with the Browns right now? Coaching staff, where are we with 6 weeks to go, 6 games to go?
Oh, right now I'm still saying that you've got to keep everything together, just because I know it's going to be the most miserable hiring process possible, and you've got to give some guys the chance to clean up after themselves. And I don't think a wholesale just flipping it on its ear is necessarily going to solve it. So even as I sit here, ultimately very critical and kind of angry and everything else that all the other Browns fans are, I still think that you got to keep it together and let them try and clean up their own mess, at least for one more year.
All right, Craig, you're going to grade the team today. What do you have going on waiting for next year?
Winners, losers, also always the podcast, the official waitingfornextyear.com podcast on iTunes.
Awesome. You rock, Craig. Have a good week off next week. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, and we're thankful for you being on the show. Thank you.
See you,
Thanks
Craig.
very much, guys.
Happy
Craig,
Thanksgiving.
we'll talk to you soon. Let's go to Howie. He's hanging out. Tubby Dog is also waiting on the line. We're going to get to him in a second, too. Howie, how are you? Where are you? You're in the den today, I can see.
Yeah, we're just hanging out downstairs. My wife is running a vacuum upstairs to clean up the mess from feeding the grandkids breakfast. There's biscuit all over the dining room floor, orange juice on the carpet, so that's where we are.
All right, Howie, how bad does it suck to be in the heart of it in Pittsburgh, in the heart of Steeler territory, and have to
I'll
watch
tell
it?
you, it could have been worse. The game was televised locally here, so there were very few Steeler fans that dug into their moth-filled wallets to get beer money out. They just sat home and drank Iron City on their couch.
I see, or I
had a few
like.
of them
That's
there.
the question. Howie, where are we with this team? Where are we with this franchise right now?
I tell you, it's embarrassing, and I think the things that were going over last week was it last week or the week before, about talent observation and scouting, and our players don't measure up. I know there's a couple of injuries, but we shouldn't let that defensive line of the Steelers just absolutely destroy our supposed partial all-pro offensive line. They were terrible. I don't know what else to say. Manziel didn't have a prayer, and anybody else back there would have got killed. He did take some sacks, but, at least he could get away a few times. But I'm thinking the front office, the scouting. I think we hold on, like Craig said, about the coaching staff. I don't know that they're that bad. I think there are some motivational issues, like you said, about keeping Gilbert out of the game. We need bodies, but we need fast bodies to chase Antonio Brown. And like Craig said also, how do you let him get over the top a million times? There's no excuse for that. That's poor coaching.
188 yards in penalties yesterday. 188.
Yeah,
Embarrassing?
but to defensive about half of that, those two big calls, pass interference when Brown was the intended receiver, were patently bullshit, especially the second one. They were just hand fighting, and I don't know if the ball was even catchable. But I think we could have at some point at least got out the old black and gold striped referee shirts from the Super Bowl when they played the Seahawks.
All right, Howie, I want you to have a great Thanksgiving. We appreciate you being a part of the show. And
Got to show you one thing here.
Yeah, knock it out.
Norm has to work today, so I have the London shirt on to cover for him here. So he's here in Seoul.
Okay.
That's awesome. Hey, Howie, thank you so much. If you talk to Norm, tell him we'll look forward to talking to him after the bye week, too. So
Absolutely, I will do that. Have
thanks,
a great
Howie.
day.
We'll talk to you soon. Keep it clean there in the middle of Steeler territory. Appreciate it. Let's go to Tubby Dog. He's standing by.
Oh, shit.
Tubby Dog, I don't even know, man.
He may cuss me
Tubby, how are you?
Man, these motherfuckers, I don't fucking understand it.
Keep going.
I really don't.
What are you
But
missing?
the good news is, I did some research because I got into a huge debate here on Twitter. Did you know that Chuck Noll, his first 3 seasons were shit?
Yeah, did you
He
know
had
that the
losing
Steelers
seasons?
were not very good in their beginning either?
No. So fucking keep petting, keep Farmer, fire the scouts, quit trying to dig for the goddamn diamond in the rough. Just take the obvious fucking pick, and let's roll.
How embarrassed were you watching that game yesterday?
I'm pretty goddamn embarrassed. I mean, I didn't tweet it. I hardly tweeted at all during the game, and I stayed off of Facebook. I mean, I live here in the middle of Yinzertown, and it's hard to keep my head high, but I'm Tubby, so I'm gonna fucking do it.
You do that, Tub. Tub, Johnny Manziel, your thoughts on him and how did he turn the corner?
I think he's marginally doing better than he did last year. I think we got to go with him and see if he has the balls to fucking finish the season out and keep trying to win. I mean, that's the only thing I can actually say for this team is that I didn't see them quit. Because you know how we've watched this team, and the players know ahead of time that, hey, this coach is on his way out, so I'm not even going to fucking bother. But these guys are actually trying. I mean, they're making mistakes, but they're making mistakes at like 150 miles an hour. They're giving it all they got.
I don't know, Tubby. It's a long season already, and it just feels like it's going to get longer. Now it's just a race to the finish, and I think the only question left is Johnny worthy of giving him a shot next year to be the starting quarterback? I think that's the last question left for this team.
Yeah, I think you do. I think he's not bad. I think the offensive coordinator Flip needs to play more a little bit to his strengths, and instead of trying to fit Johnny to his system, he needs to fit his system to Johnny, and we should be okay. I mean, our offensive line obviously needs to get better, but with Johnny being so mobile, they don't have to hold their blocks as long. I mean, fuck, it's like necessary roughness. Just tell them a story, knit them a fucking sweater, do something, but occupy them for like 30 seconds.
Any thoughts?
It's absolutely horrible what they're performing out there. I mean, they just don't play with no pride, no heart, man, and that's the bad part about it.
See, now you're saying that, and he's saying that they didn't quit. Tubby's saying they didn't quit.
Man, like I said, they didn't play with no pride, no heart. Look, Johnny had 300-some yards. Ben had 300-some yards after the first quarterback got hurt. Now, how come he has 34-some points and we only got 9?
Refs. It was the refs.
The refs. Oh, from 180, whatever. I don't care about no penalties. Hey, the zebras are out there. They out there for a reason. They out there to try to help you or help the other team. Now, either you play through it or you get your ass whooped. And that's what happened. Now I got 50 push-ups to do because of this bull crap.
You're going to be okay? You can do 50 push-ups.
I can do more than 50, but this is the point, the principles. Like, I have faith in the Browns. Now, if I'm telling you, the Browns lose another game to Pittsburgh, which, they got to play them again here.
Right.
which I would love to be at that game because I can go out there in that locker room. I can get a pump of petting cane. I'll let them know. You know what I'm saying? Look, don't be no little suckers, man. It's time to play with some heart. But
Shit, yeah.
yeah, exactly. You
I
know what I'm
agree
saying?
with
Tell me
you.
that
I mean, I
PSAC.
could
You
go out
know
there
about
shit.
that
Me
PSAC,
and him
baby.
both could go down there and give him a pep talk. They go out there and rip their goddamn heads up.
I swear, man, the kids at Glenville.
More heart than the Browns, is that what you're saying?
No, when I go and talk to them kids, like on the sideline, I mean, it may be down the first half. They come back out and they just, I mean, it's just a eruption. You know, it's like the volcanoes are going off. And they go out there and they kick some butt.
You got a kicker this year?
We got special kickers.
Why can't Glenville ever have a kicker? Tell me, what do you got coming up on your show today on the PSAC special?
Yeah, on the PSAC special, you can stream it through EdinburghNow.com coming up at 9 a.m. We're going to talk NFL. We're going to talk a little bit about the Browns. We're going to talk about the Eagles. We're going to talk about our women's soccer team, first time ever making it to the Sweet 16 in the Division II soccer.
Congratulations.
Probably,
Tony, can we
yeah,
call your
probably
show
that's
and
about
swear
it.
on your show? Oh, I must have got cut off for asking him that question.
He hung up on you.
No.
Yeah, I'm here.
Tubby, can we hear you?
Yeah, hello.
Oh, hey, Tubby, I was just asking, can we call your show and swear?
Call my show, what?
Yeah, and swear. Can we swear on your show?
Can we cuss on your
No,
show?
you cannot.
Oh.
I
We need
know,
to
I'm
move you to
sorry.
the web. Tubby, have a great bye week. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Yep, you too. And hey,
All the PSAC
load up
members
on the tongue so you don't get
have a Thanksgiving.
indigestion.
Thank you. Appreciate that. No more indigestion. So many things going on here. Let me bring Kenny back in for 1 second, then we're going to go to Matt Lodi, who's standing by from Steelers.